Khan, Shalom, Shalom. All right, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, brother Zabagala,
The Kazawan.
Khan, brother Mighty Soldier Kazwan, Mighty Scribe from W5 Milwaukee on the scene, man. Hopping on this thing, man. We're gonna break it down through the spirit. Shalom to everybody on the comment board, T Sellers. All right, Shalom, Shalom. Ashar Shabbat family. All right, Don Israel. All right, Judith Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Right on the comment board, right? We're gonna get into Revelations, the 17th chapter, going into what the great whore, right? The great whore of Babylon the Great, because we're in the spirit of prophecy. I mean, if you're not really seeing what's going on, you got UK and you got the US, they're about to bomb the Houthis, man, the Houthis, in Yemen, right? Over there in the what is it, the Black Sea?
The Red
I mean,
Sea.
the Red Sea, right? Over there in the Red Sea, right? And you got Iran saying, if you do that, great judgment is going to come upon America, man. And they're going to attack them directly through the spirit. And that's what we want to see. When brothers see that, we, right? And guess what? We get into the precepts and we give all glory and honor to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. Right? I'm going to Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 1. Right? Let me get the book of Isaiah chapter 26 real quick. I can pull it up on the screen. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Khan.
All right, let me share my screen. All right, we're gonna pull this up so they can see. See this?
Khan, I see it.
Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 26. Because I mean, we're gonna if we're living, and why are they always going to prophecy? Why are they always going into something about America being destroyed? Why can't they just go into Song of Solomon, the second chapter? Right? Why can't they go into Song of Solomon? Because we're not in that spirit right now. Right? We are not in that spirit. Right? We want to see, these nations be destroyed. We want to see the Lord destroy these nations. Let me get this. All right, Isaiah 21, in verse 6. That's what I want. Right, it's Isaiah chapter 21, verse 6. Right, thus hath the Lord said unto me, go set a watchman and let him declare what he seeth. And he saw a chariot with a couple of horsemen in chairs, asses and chairs, camels, and he hearkeneth diligently with much heed. And he cried, a lion, my Lord, I stand continually upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I am set in my ward whole nights, man. And that's what we do as the watchmen for Israel. We're set, it's like in our ward whole nights. Meaning continuously watching these prophecies. Brothers get updates and alerts on their phone. Right? Brothers be getting these things. They got the different news outlets. Right, you got Reuters, End Time Headlines, right, Euro News. You got a lot of End Game World War III. You follow them on Twitter. There's a lot of different platforms to kind of get this news. And what do you say, verse 9? And behold, there cometh a chariot of horsemen with a couple of horsemen. He answered and said, Babylon is fallen, and all the graven images of our God have been broken unto the ground. And guess what? Babylon is fallen, huh? The Most High is destroying what? Right, all the graven images of Babylon. Most High is destroying all these different things, and we out here to declare these things. All right, you got a precept?
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 102. And I'm gonna start at
you said Psalms 102?
Yeah, verse 6.
Let's get it. Psalms chapter 102, verse number 6. You got it.
It says, I am like a pelican of the wilderness. I am like an owl of the desert. I watch and am as a sparrow alone upon the housetop. Right. So like the brother was saying, you got to be a watchman, right? Because we see a lot of prophecies kicking off, and you see a lot of people also starting to fall away from the truth. As more and more prophecies kick off, more and more people fall away from the truth. So you want to be always watching for your spirit, watching these prophecies, and know what's going on. Because these mysteries, back then people didn't know who the great whore was. They didn't know who Babylon the Great was. But it's starting to be revealed now through all the things that are happening on the earth right now. But you got it.
Right? Mystery Babylon the Great was once a mystery in history. But now, like the Lord, like the brother said in the book of Daniel, actually, let me pull that real quick. In the book of Daniel, chapter 12, you have knowledge abounding upon the earth. You have these waters that's rising. Knowledge is abounding, and the Most High is showing more things on the earth, right? That his prophets can see. All right, this is Daniel chapter 12 and verse 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and what? And knowledge shall be increased. So right now, this is a time of knowledge being increased. This is the time of us going into these prophecies and actually understanding, right, what these things are going into. Because who does the Most High give this information to? Who do you allow to understand his words? His servants, the prophets. Which are who? The children of Israel. Let me get that one more priest and we're going to dive into it. I'm going to the book of Amos, chapter 2 and verse 11. The Lord gave it to the children of Israel. Verse 11, and I raised up your sons for prophets, and of your young men for Nazarites. Is it not even thus, O you children of Israel? Saith who? Saith the Lord. Yeah, saith Yahweh. He raised up our young men for prophets, teachers, seers, apostles, evangelicals, right? All of these different things, all of these offices to evangelize, to travel, right? To declare his works on the earth, to going through these different things. Let me go to Revelations chapter 19 and verse 10. Because if you're not prophesying, you don't have something. And if you don't have this, you'll be brought out there. Revelation 19 and 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahweh Shah. Worship Yahweh, for the testimony of Yahweh Shah is the spirit of prophecy. So if you have the testimony of Yahweh Shah, you have the spirit of prophecy. If you don't have the spirit of prophecy, you don't have the testimony of Yahweh Shah. If you can't, if you come into this truth, and everything's a little bit different. But if you don't have a will or desire to go into these prophecies, then you don't have a testimony of Yahweh Shah. All right. You got something?
Come on, you can go to Sirach. Sirach 39 and 1.
It says Sirach 39 and 1.
Come on.
All right. Sirach chapter 39 and 1. Let's see. Come on. You got it.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 39 and verse number 1. It says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies. So it's important to be occupied in prophecies. If you're not occupied in the law, occupied in meditating on this word period or the prophecies, you're going to be freaking off. You're going to be going off, you'll get lackadaisical, and you're going to start to slack more and more. Right? So when you're not reading, when you're not studying, right? When you're not doing something with the family, maybe, right? Hey, you could be occupied in prophecies, figuring out what's going on, keeping watch on what's going on in the news. Twitter is, it's a hot spot for all this news. Got a lot of biased stuff, but it's really a hot spot showing you what's going on everywhere. Right? But you got it.
Right. What they call it, X.
Yeah,
right?
X.
You got a lot of stuff happening on X. Right? If you don't got an X account, hey, we can give you the news outlets to follow, so your algorithm, because they got the algorithm, right? Yeah. We don't want your algorithm to get kind of messy, right? We need you to have a clean algorithm, right? So we're gonna give you all the news outlets to follow, right? Because you got the For You page. We don't want you on the For You page, right? We want you on the people that you're following. You're going to be able to see all the prophecies and all the things that brothers is talking about to be able to go into these different things, right? So let's go to Revelation chapter 17 and verse 1. The judgment of the great whore. Hey, if you're watching, take notes, right? Got your notepad, and we're gonna get into this thing. All right. It's Revelation chapter 17 and verse 1. And it says, and there came out one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. The inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So John is saying, hey, this angel said what? Come hither, I will show thee unto the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. What is that many waters that this whore is sitting upon? What is that many waters? Well, let's identify it through the precepts. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 57 and verse 20. What else is compared to as waters? Right? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 57 and verse 20. All right. And it says, but the wicked are like the troubled sea when it cannot rest, whose waters cast up mire and dirt. So humans, nations, people can be compared to as waters, right, on the earth. Right? Let's get another precept. Let's go to Psalms 144. And let me know when you got something. You got
Con, I got one after you.
Con, this Psalm chapter 144, and we're going to start at verse 1. Because these nations are compared to, so America, Mystery Babylon, they're the hotspot for all these nations. They sit upon many waters, right? It's Psalms 144:7. Send thy hand from above, rid me, and deliver me out of great waters, from the hand of strange children. So waters are compared to also what? Strange children. Nations. It's not really talking about waters, man. King David's in the middle of the Jordan River, and he's calling upon the Lord. Right? He said, I don't know how I got here, Lord. Can you just deliver me? Not what it's talking about. It's talking about delivering him. He's surrounded by these nations because these nations are surround you. Like how the Palestinians surrounded us. Many waters. You think brothers was and guess what? That's called the deep end. You think brothers were scared of the deep end? You think brothers was panicking? Ishmaelites can't do nothing against the servants of the Lord. Those strange children. Right?
It's the book of Psalms. You got it. Psalms 18:4.
Psalms 18:4.
John.
Strange waters. This is the book of Psalms. You got it.
All right, it's the book of Psalms, chapter 18 and verse 4. It says, the sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. Right, so you got floods of ungodly men. They come in like a damn Russian wave. Right, they trying to come in swiftly and destroy people. Right, that's what they're doing right now. That's what America has done over and over. It came, floods of ungodly men came and raped, robbed, and murdered millions and millions of people. All right, I got one more precept. Isaiah chapter 17 and verse number 13.
So Isaiah 17 and 30.
13. Isaiah 17 and 13. It's the book of Isaiah chapter 17 and verse 13. The nations shall rush like the rushing of many waters, but Yahweh shall rebuke them, and they shall flee far off, and shall be chased as the shaft of the mountains before the wind, and like a rolling thing before the whirlwind. And that's plain, right? But you got it, King.
Yeah, that's plain. So when you go into Revelation chapter 17, the first verse, it's not actually talking about waters, right? It's not actually talking about waters. It's talking about the nations. America sits upon many nations. America is the hot spot, the melting pot for these nations, right? That's why she's called the great whore, because she deals with all these nations. And we're going to get into it, right? In verse 2, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and that inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. I mean, you got to understand how many, let me get this book. Get the book of Habakkuk 2:15. America makes all these nations drunk. Every nation that deals with America is under the influence. Every nation that deals with America, right? Habakkuk 2:15. This is what America does. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunk also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. Because America's that perverse nation that wants to look on your nakedness, right? That got that damn spirit of Ham, man. I want to look on your nakedness of your father, man. Right? Just want to see you this in your shame. Right? America will urge you to. Didn't the Lord say don't do that? Didn't the Lord say don't urge somebody to drink? Right, in the book of Sirach, chapter 31. Didn't the Lord say that? You don't want to urge somebody to drink and they just get drunk. Right? Actually, Sirach 31.
Yeah.
All right. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 31. It's the last verse. Rebuke not thy neighbor at the wine, and despise him not in his mirth. Give him no despiteful words, and press not upon him, urging him to drink. Brothers, that's all you can drink? Come on, brother. I thought you was a mighty man. Man, give me this bottle. And you doing it in front of everybody, even the sisters. Give me this bottle. He said, no, I can do that. I can do more than that. And next thing you know, the brother he can't drive home. Right? And because you pressed upon him, urging him to drink. America does that. You don't want to move in this spirit. One more shot. Come on, it's the feast day. One more. You said you were dealing with them demons. Now that's off. Now just drink this shot. You can't operate like that. And that's how America operates. Right? Looking upon your nakedness. Let me get another precept real quick. Let me go to Jeremiah 51:6. Right? Let me go to Jeremiah chapter 51, verse number 6. Because these nations, I ain't gonna lie, you have a lot of these nations that's because when the drinking is temporary, that feeling is temporary. But once you wake up, you're gonna start to realize what you did. Right? You ever seen the movie The Hangover?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what happened after The Hangover, man? They over there retracing the hell out their steps. Trying to figure out what was going on the night before. Trying to find clues on what happened. And guess what? These nations found the clues and they all linked up with Babylon. Great. That's why the Lord said, flee out of Jeremiah 51:6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense, which is a payback. Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. And we're going to get into it. America's literally all around the earth. Their influence is from all around the earth. And they have made a lot of these nations drunk. These nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, these nations are mad. And you see in prophecy, Yemen is mad. That's a small nation. They're mad. Afghanistan is mad. Iraq is mad. China is upset. Russia is hot. Saudi Arabia, they're getting irritated. Now they're at the point of never going back because they're linking up with these alliances. 59 countries in Africa are upset. Mexico. So you have these nations, that are mad because America looking upon a nakedness, making it all.
All right. So go to Exodus 32 and 25. Exodus 32 and 25, right? When you get drunk, right, you don't got no clue what you're doing. You just doing whatever. You blacking out, right? You just don't got no memory. Like he was saying, they had to trace their steps because they blacked out. They didn't know what was going on. So you're gonna wake up naked with no garment on if you're getting drunk with America. And the Lord gonna ask, he gonna require that of you. And if you don't got an answer from him, he gonna cast into the outer, right? This is Exodus 32 and verse 25. It says, and when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies, right? Because they was worshiping other gods, right? When Moses went up to the mountain, bro, right? And he had them in sin. So that's what Esau is doing to you, right? Esau is doing that to Jake and Eve on a day-to-day basis. And they don't even know it. They don't know that they're naked and in sin. They don't know that they're drunk off of wine and they're in the spirit of sleep. Right, because once you get drunk, Esau take off your garment, right? Then he get to molest you, right? Get the freaking on you while you sleep, right? I got one more precept and you got it. It's Isaiah 29 and 10. Right, yeah, Isaiah 29. It says, for the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep and closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers and your seers have he covered. Right. And that's what the Lord has done. Right. Because men don't want to hearken unto the words of the Lord. So he had to put that spirit of sleep on people. Right. So they get drunk, they fall asleep, and now they just want to be an Edomite all of a sudden. They want to be a mold. They are man wanting to be a woman. right? They just pervert it all in the mind and destroy it, right? But you got it.
Right. So that's and that's like you said, it makes your mind, go astray. I mean, you can go to Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 5. Right? It's the book of Isaiah chapter 47 and verse number 5. And it says, "Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt be called no more the lady of kingdoms," man. So the lady of kingdoms is called the daughter of the Chaldeans, or the daughter of Babylon. And as you know, there was already a Neo-Babylon empire. So this is a new Babylon. And we identify that through prophecy, through what happened in history, that this is America. Right? And this place is called the Lady of Kingdoms. So let's go back to that Revelation chapter 17. All right, Revelations chapter 17. All right. And it says, Revelation 17 and 2, whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Yeah, look at this. Right? The biggest importer in the world is who? The United States. Right? Because they import all the goods that these other countries produce, meaning America makes these countries rich. With $3.4 trillion in imports in 2022, right? The US is the largest importer globally. Even though higher inflation and market uncertainty loomed over the economy, US imports increased 15% annually, with China as its top goods importing partner, meaning they're in bed with China a lot. China is their favorite customer. That sounds like a harlot. Hey, that's my favorite customer. That sounds like a harlot, man. Right? They're in bed with China. And we know what it says in 2nd Ezra 16 and 1. Right? Let me get this other one. Right? How many countries do trade with America? The U.S. trade relations with more than 200 countries, territories, and regional associations around the globe. The United States is the second largest goods importers in the world, behind only China. So they're the second largest second largest goods exporter, and they're the primary goods importer. So they're 1 and 2. They're first in the world at what? Importing the goods, and second in the world at exporting. So America, we identify you as that great whore that committed fornication with a lot of these nations on the earth. Right? Let me read on to verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names and blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Right? So John was carried away in the wilderness. Right? John was carried away where? Right? Let's get this in the book of Jeremiah. Psalms chapter 63 and verse 1. Right? John said I was carried away in the wilderness. What is a wilderness? A wilderness represents what? This is Psalm 63 and 1. Oh God, thou art my, it's like a Psalm of David when he was in the wilderness of Judah. Right? Oh God, thou art my God. Early will I seek thee. My soul thirsteth for thee. My flesh longeth for thee in a dry and thirsty land where no water is. So a wilderness is where there's no water. It's a dry and thirsty land. America is a dry and thirsty land. What is the water? The water is the what? The words of the Lord.
Right.
The water is the words of the Lord, and we're gonna prove that. Because if you're in a land where there's no words of the Lord, and the words of the Lord is water, that means you're in a dry and thirsty land, right? Ephesians 5 and 26, that he may sanctify it and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. So John said, I was in a place where the words of the Lord wasn't there. It was dry and thirsty, right? This is what John is saying. This is what John is seeing. Okay, you got a precept on that?
You go to John 6, and I think verse 35. Let me see. Yeah, the words of life. Right? It's locked here. Yeah. This is John chapter 6 and verse 35. It says, and Yahushua said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. Right? So you're not gonna thirst because you doing exactly what the Lord said, right? You're getting all the nutrients that you need. You eating from the Lord, you're getting the bread, right? You're getting the drink from the Lord. Right? You'll never thirst. But if you always drinking wine and filling yourself up with wine of America, hey, wine is gonna dehydrate you. Wine is gonna dehydrate you, leave you thirsty till you die out in this land we call America. Right, so you got to be willing to drink the words of the Lord, which we see people not willing to do. And that's why you see so many spiritually dead people out here now. Right, but you got it.
Calm. That's right, and that's exactly what That's exactly right what the brother was saying. You're gonna see a lot of spiritually dead people, man. Right, a lot of them, because there's no words of the Lord. And John said he sees this. Right, and guess what? She was in a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and your 10 horns, man. And where are your 7 heads? Right? You got Greece, you got Russia, Spain, Great Britain, United States, France, and Germany. Right? You got your 7 heads, man. And guess what? You got your 10 horns, man. Which represents what? The European Union. How do we know that? Right? It's the Britannica, right? The original Western European Union. Right, the formal association of 10 countries. So the European Union originally started with 10 countries. Let's see these countries, and all of these countries broke off from Rome. All of these countries was part of the Roman Empire. Right, the 10 toes, the 10 heads. Right, it says Belgium, France, Germany, Greece, Italy. Right, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, and the United States, man, that operated as a forum for the coordination of matters of European security and defense, and contributed to the creation of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, as we know, and worked in cooperation with that organization. Right? So the original European Union started with 10 countries, or the 10 heads. The 10 heads, man. Right? The 10 horns, like the 7 heads and the 10 horns. Right, so we know these things to be true based off the history, and so we're linking it up. We understanding what this is talking about. Full of names of blasphemy, scarlet colored beast. What does that scarlet represent? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 1. Why does this woman have scarlet on? What's so special about that scarlet? Right, that this woman has on. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 1. Right, it's Isaiah 1 and 16. Right, and it says, wash ye, make ye clean, put away the evil of your doings from before mine eyes, cease to do evil. Learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow. Come now and let us reason together, saith the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, though they shall be white as snows, though they be red like crimson, they shall be white as wool. So she has that scarlet on, man. That woman had that scarlet on, which represents what? Sin. America is known for sin. She wears it as a garment. That's what the Lord is telling you. America wears sin as a garment. Right? America has this on as a garment. Right? Full of names of blasphemy, having the 7 heads and the 10 horns, which we understand, which we identify as a European Union. Right, verse 4. And it says, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stone and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And we read in Jeremiah 51 and 6, down to verse 7, what that cup was for. Right, we read what that cup was for. To get all the nations drunk with their filthiness of her fornication. Right, all these nations to abide by the rules of America. Why does every nation need to make McDonald's? Right, they have to accept LGBTQ in some way, some fashion. Right, they have to get down with the philosophies that this nation pushes. All right, verse 5, and it says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. When I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. So he said, hey, when I seen this woman, I wondered with great admiration on how many saints this woman killed, man. And we know the saints are the Israelites, right? Let me go to the Song of Three Holy Children, verse 1. Song of the Three Holy Children, verse 1. Right? Let's see what this says. The Song of the Three Holy Children, let's start at verse 8. Start at verse 7. Wherefore, all that thou hast brought upon us, and everything that has done to us, and everything that thou hast done to us, thou hast done in true judgment. And thou delivered us into the hands of lawless enemies, most hateful forsakers of Yahweh, and to an unjust king, and the most wicked in all the world. Man. So the Israelites were given into the hands of lawless enemies, most hateful forsakers of God, and to an unjust king, wicked in all the world. Right? That's why John wondered with great admiration how many dead bodies of the saints that he's seen. Man. Right? Let me get another precept. Let me go to Psalm 64 and 3. You got some?
I got one after you.
This is Psalms chapter 64. And we're going to start at verse number 3. Let's see what this says. Psalm 64 and 3. Who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. And you don't shoot arrows, right? You don't shoot arrows just to shoot arrows. You're usually shooting arrows to kill something, whether you're hunting, you're killing an animal, or you're hunting another man and you're trying to kill and murder another man. And that's what America does to the saints of the Lord. That they what? That they may shoot in secret at the perfect. And who's considered the perfect? The Israelites. That's what these nations do. They guess what? They shoot in secret at the perfect. And we know that by how many of our brothers and sisters have died, man. By the hand of an Edomite with a gun that couldn't control his emotions. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. And they don't fear the judgments of the Lord. And we see that, like I said, now. They go to a whole nother county and they'll start their police track record all over again. This is the place that does that. So you got some?
You go to Job 16 and verse number 18. Because like he said, and then I got Habakkuk 2 and 10 at that. Like he said, the earth, right, is filled with the blood of the saints, right? Just constantly murdering. Right? They wouldn't have nothing that they have without, murdering Israelites. And that's all facts. Right? But let's bring this up. This is Job chapter 16 and verse number 18. It says, O earth, cover not thou my blood, and let my cry have no place. Also now, behold, my witness is in heaven, and my record is on high. Right? So the blood of the saints, like he brought out, right, is crying out to the Most High for vengeance. Right? They want the Edomites to get recompense, man. They want all the nations to be recompensed, right, for just innocently slaying us. Right? Let's go to the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse number 10. Right? Verse 12. This is Habakkuk, chapter 2, and verse number 12. It says, woe to him that buildeth the town with blood and established the city by iniquity. Right? And that's what these so-called white men, that's what America has done. Right? They built everything upon blood. Right? They established a military base in every single country off of blood. Right? They don't want these countries, these nations, they don't want America's ways over there. You think the leaders of these countries want America to have an embassy in every single part of their country, a military base? They're not really dealing with that. But Esau has to go and kill, man. They have to go and be deceitful, the same way they did us. Or he wasn't just going to give over our land, right? The Native Americans wasn't just going to give over the land to Esau. So they had to be deceitful and go and kill men and women innocent. And that's why the blood of the saints is crying out to the Most High, and he's sending these plagues out right now. Right? But you got it.
Right. They established this place with blood, man. Right. And at the end of the day, let's see what the Lord said in the law that has to happen. Let's go to Numbers chapter 35 and 33. Let's get the classic. Let's go to Numbers chapter 35 and verse 33. That's why this is why this prophecy is written. This is why this prophecy is written, because guess what? The Lord said this has to happen to America. So shall you not pollute the land wherein you are, for blood it defileth the land. And the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. And that's why John wondered with great admiration, because he sees all the saints dying. What do you think has to happen to this place that has the blood of all the saints? What do you think has to happen? They can bargain with the Lord for 3 more years. Go to Revelation 18 and 24. And this is written all throughout Revelations, man. All right, Revelation chapter 18 and verse number 24. Let's see what John said this. John said this again. And it says, and in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth. Right? Because even the Jakes in America, dying by the hand of Esau and these other nations, you got Jakes that come from other places that get ridiculed here in America. You got Jakes that come from all over the world that come to America and they fall in that same judgment. That's why it says of all that was slain upon the earth, man. Because even America pushes that agenda upon all these nations, and they treat Jake horribly in these other countries, right? And guess what? And they do the same thing as America does to us here. Right, let's get another precept. We'll give me one more. Let's go to Revelations 11 and 8.
I got one after you.
Okay. All right, this is Revelation chapter 11 and verse number 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is what? Which is America. Our bodies are literally in the streets of America, which spiritually is called Sodom in Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. Because Deuteronomy 28:68 said the Lord said we're going to be sold into Egypt. So we know this is America. And Sodom, because this place promotes all types of high levels of sexual activity amongst anything at a very high level, like Sodom and Gomorrah, homosexuality, lesbianism, anything. Right? So we know this place has to be daughter of Babylon, where our bodies was lying in the great street. You got it.
Micah chapter 2, and we can just get to the point. Start at verse 2.
Micah 2 and 2.
Yeah. It's Micah chapter 2 and verse number 2. It says, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. And that's what they've done to us. Right? They covet everything that everybody else got. They can't stay at home. Right? They can't stay where they belong at. In Idumea. Right? They can't stay there. Right? They gotta go and take everybody's land, take everybody's culture, and then establish all their wickedness in all these people. Right? By taking your heritage and just destroying. Right? Taking it by violence. Right? That's it on that.
Let's go back to that in Revelations. All right, so we're breaking down the chapter. We're breaking what's going on in this chapter, who the daughter of Babylon is, who the wicked waters are that she sits upon. Are we breaking it down? All right, this is Revelation chapter 17 and verse 7. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carrieth her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns, right? Which we identified. Verse 8, the beast that was, it's like the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is, that's like an and is not and yet is. So what does this mean? There's a lot in this verse right here. What does that mean? Right? The beast that stars that was and is not. Right? Going into the Roman Empire. Right? And it says, and it shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. That bottomless pit is talking about year. How do we know that? Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 5. Right? 2nd Ezra chapter 5. And we're going to jump down to verse 23, 24. Right? How do we know? Because that pit is talking about a landmass. So we have to know the bottomless pit, right? And it says, in all the lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit, and out of flowers are of one lily. And we know which land the Lord chose, which is the land of Israel. So when you're hearing the word pit, that's going into a landmass. Now the Lord said the bottomless pit, right? Which comes out of what? The Roman Empire. So what comes out of the Roman Empire? Europe. Europe comes out of the Roman Empire, man. All right, let's go back to that Revelation chapter 17. Right, and it says, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. Because what is the beast that was, right, and is not? The Roman Empire, right? Because it was here, it's not here, but how is the Roman Empire still here? It's still here through America. The Roman Empire still operates as America. I mean, just look at the architecture, right? So we got the Roman Colosseum poured up, right? Look at the Roman Colosseum. Look how it is, right? Doesn't that look familiar? Right? Ain't these the people that go into the gates and then they got to sit in the stands and they yelling and they booing? Doesn't this look familiar? Haven't we seen these things before? Right? The Roman Colosseum. Now let's look at the NFL stadium in America. You see that? Rome is still here. Rome is still here. You can't tell me that this is not the Roman Empire, the beast that was and is not and yet is, man. Rome is still here and operates as America on the earth. All right. You got all types of architecture, right? That mirrors the Roman Empire, man. So we know who this is, the beast that was and is not and yet is, because the spirit of Rome is still here, right? Through taxes, you have to pay. Yeah, hey, taxes is back on earth. Let me go to Matthew chapter 17. The Lord lived during the Roman Empire. Actually, let me go to Luke chapter 1, Luke 2:1. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus, right? That was the second Caesar of Rome. You know, that reigned, what, 40 or so years, like the longest reign of Caesar. And from him, that all the world should be taxed. So you got taxes. We have taxes now. You went to go get some stuff before the Shabbat, and guess what? You paid your city tax. You paid the state tax. It was, what, $3, but it came out to $6.32. Why did it come out to $6.32 and he said $3? Because you got taxed, man. Right? Let me go to the book in Matthew chapter 17, in verse 24. And when they come to Capernaum, they received tribute money, came to Peter and said, doeth not your master pay tribute? Yahushua, who created heaven and earth, when he was in the Roman Empire, they taxed him too. He said yes. And when Yahushua paid taxes. And when he was coming to the house, Yahushua prevented him, saying, what thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute, of their own children or strangers? Peter said unto them, strangers. Yahushua said unto them, then are the children free. So you had taxes all throughout the Roman Empire. You have that in America. Right? You got some?
Come on. First Maccabees, the 8th chapter. I'm gonna start at verse 1.
First Maccabees chapter 8.
This is First Maccabees chapter 8, verse number 1. It says, now Judas had heard of the fame of the Romans, that they were a mighty and valiant men, and such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves unto them, and make a league of amity with all that came unto them. Right. So you had Judas during this time, right? Hey, he heard of the fame of the Romans. Right, they were so-called valiant and great men. Right, they was slaying people. They was taking over lands. Right in the midst of why the Greeks was doing. Right, and they even did it to the Greeks. Right, so that's the same thing you see with America. Everybody knows about the fame of America, right? The modern day Roman Empire. Everybody they think America for some reason, Jake. They make those little TikTok edits about fighter jets and Esau with his guns and just trying to make them seem greater than what they are, right? But I'm gonna drop down to verse number 15, right? It says, "Moreover, how they had made for themselves a senate house, wherein 320 men sat in council daily, consulting always for the people to the end that they might be well ordered." And that's what Esau do, right? That's how their government is set up. They got all these different congressmen and councilmen, right? Making orders for the so-called president, right? Controlling everything so they could make some so-called order for America, right?
See, how many people in the American Senate? Their Senate has 100 members, 2 from each state who are elected to serve for a term of 6 years. So America has a Senate. America has a Senate, just like what the Romans, right? The Romans had a Senate, right? So we see the similarities. We see that this is the beast that was and is not, and what still is. Okay, so we identify that beast, right? That came right out of the bottomless pit, which is Europe, and that Europe came out of the what? The beast that was and is not, which is Rome. Right, sent out of the bottomless pit. So we see that, right? Verse 9, and here is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth, right? Because that woman sits on top of these damn kingdoms. Let's prove that mountains are kingdoms in the Bible. Right, let's go to Psalms chapter 72. Right, this woman sits on these kingdoms. Right, let's go to Psalm chapter 72, verse 3. And it says, Psalm 72 and 3, the mountains shall bring peace to the people, in the little hills by the righteousness. Are mountains, is Mount Everest going to bring peace to the people? Are we waiting for a savior that's going to be a mountain? And every time we read, about our Lord and Savior Yahweh, it's actually a mountain. I think it's Mount Kilimanjaro. It's not what it's talking about. The little hills are smaller mountains by righteousness, right? So these mountains are kingdoms. The mountains shall bring peace to the people, in the little hills by righteousness. Isaiah 2:1, just to show that these mountains are kingdoms, right? So this woman is sitting on kingdoms, right? She got power over these kingdoms. Right, it's Isaiah chapter 2:1, that's verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. So, like we said, it's not talking about literal mountains, it's talking about a kingdom, and this is talking about the kingdom of Israel. That all these people, all these nations are going to flow into it. If you want to read more about that, you can read more about that in Zechariah 14, Zechariah 8. Right, about Micah 4th chapter, right, where these nations are going to be flowing unto us, and we're going to be teaching them the laws. Right, so we go back to that in Revelations, unless you have something on that.
I mean, it's pretty much saying the same thing. So I could just.
It's very plain, right? So we're going precept on precept. We got to break down these prophecies on what it's going into. All right, break down these prophecies and what it's going into. Right, verse 10, and there are 5 kings. 7 kings, and there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen. Who are the 5 kings that fell? Greece, right? Germany, France, Great Britain, Spain. These are the 5 kings that are fallen. And the one is the Roman Empire, because John was living during that time, and that was the one that is. And the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. What is this? So we know the 5 that are fallen and one is, but what is this one? This is talking about Russia. Because when Russia has power on the earth, it's going to be for a short space. Why is it going to be for a short space? Because after Russia destroys these nations, Yahweh Shai is going to destroy Russia. Right? Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 38 to prove that. Right? Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 38. All right, this is Ezekiel chapter 38. Right, I'm gonna start at verse 2. Son of man, prophet, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Right, because we look up the land of Magog and Gog, right? That's where modern day Russia is now. So we know this is a prophecy going into Russia, right? And Meshech and Tubal, meaning the allies of Russia, right? Let's jump down to verse. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah, and the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with him. Because what are the north quarters of Russia? Right? The region of Russia. Let's look it up. Region of Russia. The north quarters are all those countries up there by Russia. Let's see if this is a good map. All right. Get a better map. Everyone's got the good maps, man. Can you see it? Is it kind of blurry?
No, I can see it.
I want to make it bigger. Right. Let's see.
But zoom in your screen.
There we go. You see this one?
Yeah.
You got Russia, right? And then you got these nations, Belarus next to it, right? You got Ukraine. You got all these nations around Russia, man, that's ready to, go to war with Russia. All these nations, you got the Republic of the Osaka, right? You got all these nations around Russia, man, that we really don't really get into, that we really don't want to talk about. But you got all these nations right here, the north quarters, right? Moscow, St. Petersburg. You got all these nations around Russia, right? That's going to be allied with Russia in that time, right? That's going to be allied with Russia and many people with thee. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Because just the way America is a guard unto NATO, Russia is going to be a guard unto his allies. They're going to depend on Russia and Satan 1, Satan 2, and Satan 3, man, to destroy the West countries, right? And it says, verse 8, after many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword. What is that land that is brought back from the sword? When you read Isaiah chapter 51 and verse 3, that's Israel. Israel is that land that was brought back from the sword, made like unto the Garden of Eden, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have all been always waste, but is brought back out of the nations and shall dwell safely, all of them. So while Israel is in the wilderness, what? Verse 9, thou shalt ascend and come out like a storm. Thou shalt cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith the Lord God, it shall come to pass that all this at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up into the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, right? Because Israel is not going to be built up yet. Our slaves going to have to build it. But we just, brothers, the 1/3 just got beamed down into the wilderness. So they don't have any walls yet, right? And we're at rest. We just, the 1/3 just came out of captivity. And it says that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil, to take a prey, to turn thy hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods, that dwell in the midst of the land. So Russia is going to come and try to fight Israel in that land. But what the Lord said, right? Verse 16, and thou shalt come up against my people of Israel, and as a cloud to cover the land, and it shall be in the latter days and I will bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know me, meaning the Lord will introduce himself the proper way. Alashagir, the king of terror, fire is going to rain down from heaven. Read about that in Revelations. And it says, thou shalt be sanctified of thee, O God, before their eyes. That's a mean verse right there. Right? So we know that Russia is going to be that, like that Sabbath, that that cometh and continues a short space, because the Lord is going to destroy Russia right after they destroy the nations. Right? He's going to continue a short space. So we know the 7 kings, right? The 5 that are fallen, right? Greece, Spain, Britain, Germany, UK, right? And then Rome is the one that is, and we know Russia is the one that continues short space. But verse 11, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th and is of the 7th and goeth into perdition. So who is this? Well, it just told you, and the beast that was and is not. That's Rome. You already know Rome is the one that is. So who is that country that operates in the spirit of Rome? That's America. Even he is the 8th and is of the 7th that going into perdition. America is also going to go into that destruction as well, man. All right, that's what the word perdition means. That goes into that destruction. Right? And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as the king 1 hour with the beast. Right. So these nations right here, the Western European Union, these nations reign with the beast. These nations reign with America. Right? What does it say? And the WEU grew out of the Brussels Treaty of 1940. So they had their own treaty, the Brussels Treaty of 1948. But what? An agreement between Belgium, France, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom to provide collective defense and to facilitate cooperation, economic, social, cultural matters. NATO and the Council of Europe, both of them which were formed in 1949, right, developed out of that framework. So NATO is now, right, is now that guard. And America is a guard unto NATO, is guard unto these nations. They reign with America. They reign with the beast, man. Right? These nations fear America. We go to Revelation chapter 13, verse 4. All right, let's go to Revelation chapter 13 and verse number 4. And it says, and they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they gave their power unto America. Right? And it says that they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? Right? Why is these countries see, look, verse 1 is going to tell you, said it. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And upon his horns, 10 crowns upon his heads, in the name of blasphemy. So the European Union, as we identified, is going to say to the beast, who is able to make war with him? Who's able to make war with this country, man? Why? Why do they say that? So, Cosmo, that's the article I was talking about earlier. The U.S. military bases around the world. There are over 850 bases around the world, 90 countries worldwide. These are all allies of America. Now, they may not be in NATO, but these are nations that get down with America in some form or fashion. All right, let's see if I can make this bigger. That's the biggest I can go. All right. El Salvador, you got Cuba. You got countries I've never heard of before, man. All right, what does it say? Gabani. I think we said that earlier. Gabani. Right? You got Mali. You got Somalia. You got all these countries that get down with America. They say, who can we make war? How can we make war with this place? Right? NATO. At present, right, it's another article, right, by NATO.int. NATO has 31 member countries. These countries called NATO allies are sovereign states that come together through NATO to discuss political and security issues and make collective decisions by census. Right? NATO was created by 12 countries from Europe and North America on 4 April 1949. So they said, what was that other treaty, Cosmo? It was a damn Brussels treaty. So they said, we not dealing with that. America came into power. They said, yeah, we dealing with this. We need you. Hey, America, we need you on our side. And that's why they say that. Who is like unto the beast and who is able to make war with him? You have something on that?
Nah, you got it.
Right? Let's go to Revelation chapter 17, verse 12 again. So these nations say that, man. Who was able to make war with this beast? Right? And they gave their power unto him. Right? So verse 12 again, the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Right? So they got to reign with America. America, they make these countries rich, whoever they're dealing with in bed. Right? Verse 13, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. So when you have World War III break out, right, on the earth, all these nations are going to be fighting each other. But then you're going to have these nations try to fight against the Lord. These nations don't mess up and try to fight against the Lord. Right? The King of kings, Yahweh Shah himself. And that's documented. Let's go to the book of Revelation. All right, chapter 12. Actually, go to
I have precept that to you.
Actually, Slacky, Revelation 9. Those are good precepts too. But Revelation 9. All right, this Revelation chapter 9 and verse 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. I heard the number of them. So we always go into how much is 200,000 soldiers? Right? How much is 200,000? Right? 200,000. That is 200 million soldiers. John said what? I heard the number of them. You've never heard 200 million people at one time. I don't care what was the loudest football game you ever went to. The NFL. You have people that put in plug-in ears for going to an NBA game. And how much you have in the NBA? What 50,000, 40,000 people? You've never heard 200 million people, and the Lord is going to fight over 200 million people, man. All right? Now you got it.
Second Ezra chapter 13.
That's the spirit.
And I'm gonna start at verse number 33. All right, it says, and when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another, and an innumerable multitude be gathered together, as thou sawest them willing to come and to go overcome him by fight. So you seen all the people that the brother was, saying. You're gonna have an innumerable multitude of wicked men trying to fight against the Lord, right? And they're gonna get overcome. They're gonna get overcome by the Lord, right? They can't beat the Lord. They can't beat the angels, right? It says, but he shall stand upon the top of Mount Sion, and Sion shall come and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and builded, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts, and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the law, which is like unto a fire. So the Lord is coming back to rebuke these nations. He's coming back to slay all these nations. Right? They're gonna try to make war with the Lamb, which you see how it's shy, and they're gonna be confounded in that day. Right? They can't beat the Lord. It's impossible. Right? What you got, it can.
You get one more precept on that. Yeah, you can't. You're trying to fight the Lord, man. Don't you know the Lord has a whole prophecy in Isaiah chapter 63 about him going? The Lord scoring 40, got damn eight triple doubles on you nations' heads, man. Right? The Lord is just putting up numbers on y'all, man. Right? Jay said, y'all got the most bodies. Right? The Lord is going to have the most bodies in that day. It's Isaiah chapter 63 and verse 5. Verse 4. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is. Actually, I'm sorry, verse 2. Wherefore art thou ready in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat. So Isaiah is asking, he sees the Lord, he said, why does it look like you just got done, stepping on grapes all day? Or what is all that red on you? Verse 3, I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in my anger and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. You have never seen 200 million people's blood. People just dead. The Lord's coming back like something we've never seen before. Because the day of vengeance, it says, for the day of vengeance in my heart and the year of my redeemed is come. Meaning that it's time for the Lord to redeem us, man. But when the Lord's redeeming us, he's going to be simultaneously trampling these nations. Fire coming out of his mouth, neither holding nor spear, nor weapon, nor sword, man. Just solely the words of life. All right, so let's go back to that Revelations. Now, another thing that's going to happen as well. You're going to have these nations turn on America. Right? You're going to have these nations turn on America. You're going to say, is he that saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the war sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Right? We read that in verse 2, right? With precepts, Isaiah 57:20, Psalm 144 and verse 8, right? And multitude of other precepts showing that what these nations are compared to as the waters. All right? Verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So wait a minute. You see, we already know America has their enemies, right? We got you got Russia, you got the BRIC Alliance, right? You got the Dragons of Arabia, the Peninsula Force, right? The Arab League. You got CSTO, the Collective Security Treaty Organization. You have all of these allies against America. But America allies, 31 member countries, they're also going to hate the whore. They're also going to join up with those allies. And guess what? All those missiles are going to be turned and aimed at the whore, man. Why do you think John said, I seen it as a lake of fire? You thought it was just going to be 3 missiles that hits America, man? You're going to have, in each country, let me see something. Each country probably has like 10 missiles. You have Iran, just one country alone, they have a missile city, an underground missile bases. They have a missile city. How many missiles does England have? 2. I ain't gonna lie to you. If 2, that's just England. What about France? You have was 290 plus 260. That's look almost 8 to 900 missiles. I mean, Slock is 600 to 700 missiles. Right? You have that's just 2 countries. You have 31 member countries plus America's enemies. So now we see why John said they're gonna burn her flesh. Eat her flesh and burn her with fire, right? That's what the Lord says. That's what's going to happen. You got something on that? Oh, actually, give one more precept, and you got it.
I got it. I don't want to.
What Isaiah 47. I mean, it's going to be something never seen before. 290 warheads, one country, and that's just one country. All right, it's Isaiah 47:14. Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them, they shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm up, nor to sit before it. Right? Let me get one more. I'm gonna give you after this. Let me get one more. The Lord said they not delivering themselves from that, huh? For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And ovens can broil, man. You ever put your hand on a broiling oven, man? Right? It says, in the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither roots nor branch.
Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse number 41. Right? It's the book of Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 41. It says, behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea. They shall ride upon horses, every one put in array like a man to battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. The king of Babylon hath heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs as of a woman in travail. All right, so when you got all these nations, right, teaming up against America, they're not going to show mercy. They're going to push that red button over and over and over again. You see all those missiles. Imagine how many Iran got if they got a whole city. Imagine how many Russia got, how many China got, right? The entire BRICS alliance and so forth. Right? They're not going to show mercy into America. Why should they? Right? They want to take over now. They want to rule. Right? So they're gonna destroy America, and it's gonna be raps. So you got to get ready, right? I got one more precept. This is Jeremiah 51 and verse number 11. It says, "Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple." So the Lord is telling you to get ready, right? He's about to bring vengeance upon Babylon for his temple, which is you Israelites. Right, so you got to get ready, right? But you got it, King.
I was looking up something real quick, right? How many missiles? And I seen this. Does NATO have together? Number of nuclear warheads belonging to NATO allies as of 2020, there were estimated to be approximately 4,223 nuclear warheads belonging to 3 NATO allies: United States, France, and United Kingdom. Woo! That's 4,200 with 3 countries, right? You take out of America, France, United Kingdom, and you add the other 29 members, 28 members. Right? Plus Russia. Well, let's see what it says about Russia. Has 1,100 nuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, stockpiled, compared with NATO, which has 800 ICBMs. And that's not even talking about Russia's allies: Iran, Iraq, right? China. So you have this place is going to be decimated. Thus saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Something you've never, lake of fire, a real lake of fire, man. And God willing, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua willing, we get to be on them chariots and we get to see that. Right? Tobit, we're going to get that too. Tobit cried when the Assyrian Empire fell, man. Tobit, he cried at that. Right? Right? This the book of Revelation, chapter 17. And verse 16, in the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Yahweh have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of God shall be fulfilled. Because the Most High can make you do that. The Most High can tap into your mind and manipulate you and program you to do whatever he wants to do his will. Right? Didn't he put it into the mind of Cyrus to do his will? Right? Let me go to Isaiah chapter 45, verse 1. I think that's what I want. Right? He put it into the mind of King Cyrus to do his will. Prophesied about him before he even came on the scene. Right? It's Isaiah 45 and 1. Thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue nations before him, and I will loose the loins of kingdoms to open before him to leave gates, and the gates shall not be shut. Right? Because the Lord chose Cyrus to do his will and to subdue nations, just so Cyrus can do what? Just so he can do what? Ezra 1:1. He literally told you, right? The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus. The Lord did that. The king of Persia, that he made proclamations throughout all his kingdom, and put it also right, saying, "Thus saith the Lord, king of thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven, hath given me all the kings of the earth, and he have charged me," meaning he made me, "to build him a house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah." So he stirred his spirit up just to send the Israelites back to their homeland after the 70-year Babylonian captivity period, to rebuild that temple that Esau burnt down and the Babylonians defiled, right? And took all of our precious things. So the Lord chose him to do that. The Lord can put in your mind to do anything he wants you to do. All right, let's go to Daniel chapter 4 and verse number 17. All right, this is Daniel 4:17. And it says, "The matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones." Who are the watchers? The angels, right? "To the intent that the living may know," because we're the living, "that we may know what?" Right? "That the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men," right? "And giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the bases of men." And we know the Most High does this because the basis man is ruling now Amalek, these Edomites. But the point is, the Most High rules in the kingdom of men, right? The Most High has a hand on who gets elected as president, who gets elected as prime minister in Great Britain, who gets elected as the king of Saudi Arabia, who gets elected as prime minister over there in France, the prime minister over there in Russia. The Lord has these kingdoms in the palm of his hand. All right, let me get one more. I'm gonna pass it. Right, let me go to Proverbs chapter 21 and verse number 1. And it says, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whomsoever he will." So the Lord can do what he wants with you, with a nation of people. The Lord can judge a nation of people. That's in Jeremiah 18:7. The Lord can control these kings just to fulfill his will, as we have proven. And that's what he did with these nations, to fulfill his will. What you got? You hear me, King?
I was on mute, puppy. Yeah, I just got one more. It's Exodus chapter 10 and verse number 1. It says, "And the Lord said unto Moses, Go unto Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the heart of his servants, that I might show these my signs before him." Right, and that's what the Most High is doing in these last days. He's hardening the heart of these kings, of these modern nations, right, to come up and destroy America, right, to make war against the Lamb, right. He's hardening their hearts, right, to fulfill his will. Right, what you got again?
I'm going to Isaiah chapter 10. Let me get one more on that. "The Lord wields the axe and manages the axe." It's Isaiah 10:10. See if this is what I want. God, that's not what I want. God, that's all good. It's all good. Let me see. He shall splendor the rod in the nation. God, that's all good. Oh, actually, no, yeah, here it is. Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 15. "Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith? Or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it? As if the rod should shake itself against him that lifteth it up? Or as if the staff shall lift it itself, as if it were no wood." Right. The material or the item can't lift up itself against the person that's holding it or wielding it. You got an axe, and your axe says, "Stop swinging me so hard. Don't you know I get dizzy when you do that?" The axe not saying, do you know I get dizzy because you chopping a tree a little bit too hard. Right? It's not going to boast itself against you. "Oh, I'm the strongest axe. I'm the strongest staff." No, it's just a staff. Right? And it says, "Therefore shall the Lord of hosts, send among his fat ones leanness, and under his glory he shall kindle burning. like the burning of a fire. So the Lord is the wielder of these things. The Lord sends out different things. The Lord controls these different things. All right, so let's go back to that Revelations. All right, the 17th chapter, the great whore, man. All right, we exposing this whore, man. We exposing this HOE. Right? It's Revelation 17 and 7. 17, for Yahweh have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Right? So this great nation, that great nation, America, Babylon, the great as they know, all right, is that beast, is that whore, man. Right? That has control all of these European nations, and that's gonna have her flesh burned with fire. But that was the Revelation 17 chapter breakdown. Right? I like to give all honor and glory in Yahweh, praise to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. Keep the Sabbath holy, right? Keep the Sabbath holy, stay safe, right? And like to bid a mighty strong shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.